Imagine you are stationed in the Air Force in Washington State on the West Coast, way up here. And now you have orders to Shaw Air Force Base on the East Coast, way down here. You need to find a house. You need to have a place to go. What are you supposed to do? That's where I come in. Hello, welcome to Closing Chapters, Everyday Real Estate Tales. I'm your host, Brittany Fry. I'm a realtor, I'm a military wife, and I'm a mom. Join me and come transaction by transaction throughout my real estate career starting back in 2016 to hear about the highs, the lows, and the unexpected turns along the way through all of my customers. It's going to be a crazy ride, you guys. I am so excited to share the past, the current, and then what's coming in the future. Hang tight for the ride. Join me about being a realtor, a military spouse, and a mom. Can't wait to see you there. Hey, happy Saturday, friends. I am so excited to tell you about this next story. In fact, this is one of the stories that shows exactly why I absolutely love working with military clientele. Imagine you are stationed in the Air Force in Washington State on the West Coast, way up here. And now you have orders to Shaw Air Force Base on the East Coast, way down here. You need to find a house. You need to have a place to go. What are you supposed to do? That's where I come in. This is my expertise, and I absolutely love serving clients in this capacity. So let me tell you what happened. They allowed me to do a lot of video tours for them and trusted my guidance on finding them the perfect property. They really wanted a one-story house, and we found that, and they just wanted to be in a really cozy neighborhood. They didn't want new construction. They wanted something with a little bit of character that they could put some love into, and we found a gem. Not only was this a fantastic property for them when they bought it, later on I found out when they arrived that they had a growing family. They were expecting their first son, which was so cool, and they actually had 2 babies while they were in this house, and they just sold it this past year with orders to Germany. And they made a killing. They did all of the right things with my guidance every step of the way. And I really appreciate that they came to me and said, hey, Brittany, this or that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So let me tell you about this house. It was a single-story house, 2,800 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 full baths, 2 were suites. So there was like the primary suite on one end with the other 2 bedrooms, and then you had the living space, a formal living room, the kitchen, a dining room, an eat-in kitchen, and then behind the kitchen was the laundry room that went to the garage, and then there was an additional suite on that end. So 2 opposite ends of this house, they're suites. So they had guests over and over and over again. Mom and dad came from Rock Hill all the time and visited. We had a sister come down from up north. Mom came from California. They were all over. It was amazing. And even towards the end of their stay here, they had somebody coming into the shop, that shop being like the military office that he worked in, that needed a place to stay, got to rent out the suite for a little while. They have always utilized this space so well. And they were always so welcoming to me and said, Brittany, if you're ever coming to town, come stay with us, which was such a blessing. And we did go over to dinner with them quite often. And even when I brought Clara, my daughter, with me, I would bring her along, and I've got the cutest pictures of her and the boys sitting there playing and them teaching her the ropes of how to be rough and tough and rambunctious, which is so sweet. So this house had been a rental for a good many years, and it just needed some love, cosmetically speaking. One of the things that was just really off-putting when you went into the living room is it had that dark green, hunter green carpet, and everything was like wood paneling, so it was just super dark, so dark. And it smelled like pee. It was gross. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That was not a fun part of it. But I told them that ahead of time. I was like, look, this is a fantastic property in a fantastic neighborhood with a heck of a price tag for what it was going for. And they trusted me and they had planned ahead, which was so super cool. So they purchased this house, like I said, 2,800 square feet, one story, about a half an acre of land for $199, under $200,000, under $100 a square foot. $100 a square foot would have been $280,000. Steal, right? It gets even better. I'm telling you, friends, I am so proud of these people. So they purchased a house, sight unseen, with my guidance. Thankfully, mom and dad in Rock Hill down the road come up for the home inspection. I happened to be going to Korea during the home inspection to visit my husband. And so I wasn't around at the moment. And a guy in my office so graciously covered for me, and they were great, and everything went well. And they closed. Well, they weren't here yet. So they said, hey, Brittany, before we get in the door, we want new carpet in the house and we want to paint X, Y, and Z rooms because there was a lot of paint that needed to be redone. There was, crowns on the wall or doors that had really been scuffed up, whatever the case may be. That dark room, they painted it and lightened it up. So we got to work and we were able to get a new carpet in place for them and painted the walls. Now, every happy story has a dun 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 moment, right? So thankfully it was caught in time. When they were going in to do the new carpets, we found out that one of the skylights in their living room was leaking onto the floor. It was not leaking when we went under contract. It was not leaking at the time of the home inspection. There was no debris on the floor. It's something that just happens. So anyhow, I was able to get my roofer out there ASAP and get that fixed before new carpet went in place, and we did not have any long-term effects of that, which was great. And on top of that, we were able to get the house painted and ready to go for them before they ever stepped foot in the house. Now, imagine coming from Washington State to South Carolina to walk into the doors of a house you've never seen. You've purchased, in person anyways, you've purchased it, you've put money into it, and now you get to open the doors and say, welcome home. They were tickled pink, and I am so glad. You're always going to be a little bit nervous being on my side of this story, right? You can only tell them what you see and how you feel and give them your opinion when they are your client, right? Through your lens. And everybody's going to see things differently. And we have to be very clear and open about that, right? So, the reality is just disclose. If we see anything, if we smell anything, if we hear anything, we need to say something about it. And then it's up to them to make a decision, right? We educate the client, that client can make good decisions. So thankfully, they loved it. They agreed with everything I said. Everything was hunky-dory. And like I said, when I got to meet them there, I found out that they were expecting their first little bundle of joy. So exciting, which meant I got to spoil them even more. And it meant that they got to plan a nursery for their baby in their brand new house to them. How sweet. Also went in queue with some of the paint colors they were picking out, and I had absolutely no idea. It was so cool. So they got in and got settled, and what they did is each year they took on a project. So one year they took on painting the cabinets in the kitchen and putting in granite countertops and fixing some cabinetry. There was like a food compactor in there, like an old school one. They took that out and got a cabinet guy to come in and build a cabinet to do a pull-out drawer for a trash can, which was really cool. One year they decided to renovate their primary bathroom and redo the shower. They tiled it and it looked awesome. And so they took on projects like this one at a time. And they would call me and say, Brittany, we're considering doing this or this. What's going to give us the most bang for our buck, right? That's where I'm so thrilled that they came back to me. You guys, I am a trusted advisor for a reason, okay? I can look and see what helps a house move up price point wise or carry its value from past appraisals or past listings or comparable properties, and see what the going rate is or the things that seem to be commonly done to increase the value in a home, right? So the only thing that we didn't do in this house that would have absolutely bumped it a little bit more was update the flooring, right? Having carpet throughout a whole house is not as advantageous for most people nowadays. And there was some old tile in the house, in the kitchen, and the hall bathroom. It really wasn't a big deal. It sold just fine. But that was like the one comment that I got from people was, if it was LVP, like luxury vinyl plank flooring, or if it was wood flooring, we would like it more. Okay, great. Like I said, they had little itty bitties when they were at that house. So for them, carpet was preferred. They had young kids that were going to be crawling around, learning how to walk, fall and tumble, and they just wanted a safe space for them. And I agree 100%. They did the right thing. And it boded them well. The family that actually purchased their house had young kids and were expecting at the time. So it was perfect for the next people that had moved in. So my point in saying that is if you go to sell and there's something like that that you can't change easily or it's just a preference, just understand everybody's allowed to have a preference and the right fit is going to come along. And you just need to know that and be patient. Now, there's a difference in condition and preference. So keep that in mind. If the floors were stained or torn up or whatever have you, I would have said, hey, y'all, the condition of the flooring is not going to bode well for us. And we would have addressed it then. So there's differences there, okay? But the overall point is that they came to me and said, we are thinking about doing this and we're thinking about doing that. What should we do? And they did this every year, a little bit at a time. So they had gradually touched all of the bathrooms. They'd updated light fixtures. They updated mirrors. They put granite countertops in. Just really surface items, but it brought the property up to par so much more. It was great. And then they got orders to Germany 4 years later. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest, you guys. They really thought they were going to hang tight and stay there for the duration of his military career because mom and dad were 2 hours down the road. Now, mom and dad like to travel. All of their families like to travel. So it was an opportunity of a lifetime. She is actually from Australia, was born and raised in Australia for most of her life. So getting to Germany was pretty cool to see a whole nother side of the world and be able to travel more again. And I just saw recently, mom and dad from Rock Hill just came and visited them last week. So that's so cool that they are coming to them. So opportunity of a lifetime. We have orders to Germany. We are going to sell this house. All right. What do you think it sold for? I'm going to tell you a little secret. It wasn't in the twos. That's right, my friends. A little bit of work at a time, equity building at a time, buying the diamond in the rough that was not cosmetically in good shape whenever they purchased it, putting in a little bit of money beforehand and then extra projects each year, they sold for over $300,000. You'll get the exact price if you hang tight and listen to the rest of the episodes a couple years down the road. So, anyhow, my point is they cleared over $100,000 on this property because of all of the work they put into it and plugging away a little at a time. So, my friends, the market is tough. There is not always a lot to choose from. We're having to look in lower price points than what we're accustomed to because of the rates, right? Don't be discouraged. Remember, if it's livable, if you can get in the door and it can serve its purpose, it's a safe environment for you and your family, you can plug away a little at a time. A lot of times, the majority of the things that we are upset about or just don't care for are very cosmetic. And those are things we can address a little at a time, right? And this is a true example of exactly what can happen. And honestly, that's exactly what happened. I mean, they did not spend a huge amount of money at any given point in time. Did they put some money into the house? Heck yeah. But it was once a year, one project. This is what we're focusing on when we can, as we can. And they lived life. and their house wasn't in disarray because they had some huge project going on that just, took everything out and it wasn't safe for the kids or anything of that nature. And a lot of times they were really smart and planned it around, hey, I'm going to be going on this trip. Can you come in and do this work while I'm there? Right? So they weren't even home, and they would have the tile work done. Or, coming during the day when the kids were at school. Things like that. They were so savvy about how they set up everything so that it did not interrupt life. So find you that diamond in the rough. Find you that older house in a beautiful neighborhood that just needs a little pick me up. And it will serve you so well. So well. And that's kind of what we're in right now. As you guys know, we just purchased a house in North Carolina. This house is 20 years old. So it's not super old, but it's old enough to be outdated, and it is. And we have a ton of projects to do, little piddly things here and there, and most of it's all cosmetic for the most part. One of the things that we're doing is switching out ceiling fans and light fixtures and doorknobs. You want to talk about interesting. We have a gold doorknob and a silver doorknob on either side. Which came first? A hinge will be gold somewhere, some will be silver. Our fixtures are silver, but the doorknobs are gold. Who knows? It's a life that has been lived many years over in this house. So now it's time to make it our own. So we are switching to mostly black fixtures, which is kind of cool. We're enjoying that so far. So we've been switching out all the hinges, all the doorknobs, all to black. And it's cool to just kind of watch it transform, right? These are the little things that we can handle right now. And then we'll take on some projects here soon. We have a half bath downstairs that's going to have to be redone. The floor has damage to it, the hardwood floors, and so that needs to come up and probably put tile in place instead because it's a little bit more durable in a wet area. And we would like to renovate the kitchen to some extent, potentially, and maybe renovate the primary bathroom to some extent. So we'll see where it goes, And once again, we have to have that same mindset, a little at a time. It doesn't all have to happen overnight. And I need that reminder right now because when I'm coming in and trying to unpack and I don't have space for things and I just want everything to be fixed the way that I want it to be done, I am in such a rut where I just feel like I need to hurry up and get it all done. And I want to plan all of these things right now. But it doesn't matter. The house is safe, it is functional, and is honestly in really good shape for 20 years. And it's been a rental for most of that time frame. So considering, we are counting our blessings. And it's just fresh. They put in fresh carpet, it was freshly painted. So we are at least in the door and we are living life and getting settled. So I hope that's a good reminder for you that if you can make the basic things happen, then you can handle the rest later. And that's the big thing. When you're looking for a house, we need our non-negotiables or like the things that really weigh heavily for us. And if we can prioritize that, then the rest will come. And this is just a great example to show. Trust and lean into your trusted advisor, your real estate professional. We are here to support you. If you set the framework for us, if you say, hey, this is what I really, 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 really want, and I can sacrifice this, this, and this, right? Then we can play the balancing game and we will start searching high and low for anything that might suit well. And I'm also going to tell you, when I say this, it's with a warning, okay? It's okay to change your mind. And what I mean by this is more times than not, when I'm working with a buyer, we go see 3, 4, 5 houses, and I start listening and I start hearing consistencies. And what they have told me they think they want on paper is really not what they're saying at all. So then I regroup and I find a house or two and I say, hey, I know these aren't on our list, but can we go check these out? I'm hearing a whole couple things, and I think these houses check some of the boxes that you're missing or things that you have said several times while we've seen the other houses. And more than likely, I can pinpoint what they're looking for faster than they can. That's why we're the professionals. We're used to listening to this from the outside in. And sometimes it is so hard, even if you're like, a husband and a wife, right? You're not hearing that your wife is saying the same thing 3 times in a row at 3 different houses, and she doesn't even recognize it, right? Because they thought this is what they wanted. So it checks the list, and it's just not the right house, it's just not in the right neighborhood, something else. They're not hearing that they're saying, gosh, this is so many stairs, or gosh, this garage is really small, or oh, I just wish the backyard was fenced. How much money are we going to have to spend on a fence, right? So if I hear these triggers, then I can get to work and start regrouping and saying, okay, what about this? What about that, right? So for them, they told me, like, these are my non-negotiables. We really want a one-story house. We really want to be in an older neighborhood or like a more mature neighborhood, not, they didn't want like just a blank slate yard, right? They wanted some trees and bushes and some beauty all around it already. And they absolutely got that. So lean into me, give me what you got, and then let me fly. Because when you loosen those reins and let your realtor support you, they will surprise you with what they come up with. And they're always listening. A good realtor is always listening. So speak, frankly. It's okay. Right time, right place. My other warning or caveat to that's going to be, if you are looking at houses, keep your mouth shut if it's really negative inside the house, right? Technology. Need I say more? And we need to swiftly look through houses. We look through it, we come outside, go have lunch, go have a coffee, something like that. And then we can have a conversation. Okay? So I will also pick up on cues. It's really not too hard. You can tell sometimes with people's body language whether they're rushing through a house or whether they're comfortable there or if they just really dislike something they're seeing. And I can ask questions at that point and figure out the rest. Okay? So lean into your real estate professional. We will guide you 100% of the way. And if you find that diamond in the rough and you're ready to do a couple of repairs or you're ready to do a couple of projects, run it by your realtor. And let's see if we can guide you in the right direction and make sure that you're doing the things that are going to add value to your home. Plus, get you great connections and great contacts. And with this family, it went both ways. I had some great people to set them up with, and they actually found some great people to pass along to me in hindsight. So it was an awesome working relationship in that manner. So anyhow, we are here to support you. We do not just open doors, right? We're professionals. We're going to help you find that missing puzzle piece. We're going to put it all together. We're the glue, okay? We're going to make it happen for you. So I hope you have a great day. And I cannot wait to tell you the official number of what they sold for this past year later on down the road. So hang tight with me, keep listening, and you'll find out in a hot minute what they actually sold for. And I'll reference this episode again so that you can know, hey, they bought it for $199 and they sold for the sky's the limit. Have a great day, you guys.